Good morning. Welcome to Morning Dew, which is the precious balm of heaven coming down to us each and every day. It refreshes the soul, gives you inspiration, it helps you to begin the day right. And if you begin the day right, the rest of the day will fall into place. That's how I found it anyway. This week I've been thinking about what it means to be under the shadow of God's wing, under the shelter of El Shaddai. And I've asked God each morning when I've woken up, and I thought, Lord, what is it to be under the shelter of your wing? And this is what God has showed me over the week. God's heart has always been to cover and protect us. When Adam and Eve made the wrong choice in the Garden of Eden, God didn't abandon them, He didn't forsake them, He didn't reject them because they'd made a mistake. He didn't condemn or judge them, but He covered them. He covered their nakedness, He covered their shame, He covered their guilt, and He stayed with them. He came out of the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve, and He was with them. So God's heart has always been to protect us, always been to be with us. And of course, later on, God sent His Son Jesus to lay down His life, to surrender everything out of love, so that we might be covered, that our sin might be covered and forgiven, that we might be set free. This is what He did for us. This is what He always planned and promised to do for us. The wing of Shaddai is a place of intimacy, a place of closeness, a place of revelation, where God reveals His heart to us. He reveals His heart of love, His heart of compassion, His faithful heart, what He thinks about us, what He believes in us. God is kind, and I think we often forget that. We often think that He must think badly of us. You know, when we make a mistake, when we mess up our lives, you think, surely God cannot love us anymore. But this is not true. This is a lie from the enemy. God will always love us, and He will always seek to protect us, and He will always seek to guide us if we are willing to come under the shadow of His wing. It's of course a place of revelation. It's a place where we can ask God questions, all the things that bother us, you know, from the smallest question to the biggest question, about the world, about life, about creation, about His plans for us, His purpose. He reveals His heart to us each day. David, the shepherd king, knew very well what it was to be under the shadow of God's wing. He knew it as a place of protection, a place of refuge. But it was also a place where David received strength and courage and confidence to face the enemy. When he confronted Goliath the giant, he did so with absolute assurance and confidence that God was with him and that God would help him. He succeeded. He defeated that enemy, that massive enemy, with one single shot from his sling. Malachi, the Old Testament prophet, spoke about the healing that was under God's wing. When the woman with the issue of blood approached Jesus, she reached out her hand to touch the fringe of Jesus' cloak, and she was instantly healed. And Jesus said He had felt the healing power go out of His body when the woman touched the fringe of His garment. When Jesus walked through the streets of Jerusalem, when He walked through the towns and villages of Israel, the sick would come to Him and they would ask just to be able to touch the fringe of his garment, the hem of his garment, to be healed. Dear listener, my heart and hope for you, my prayer for you, is that you come under the shelter of Shaddai's wing, God's wing of protection. And there you will find rest, you will find peace, you will find strength to face the challenges of the day. You will learn about his heart for you. Remember, he loves you and he cares for you. He will never leave you, he will never abandon you. This is what I have found in my life experience. God is kind.